Good evening. Good evening, my brothers and my sisters. Brother Billy. Uh, I want to do a quick response to Matt Walsh. Walsh. Matt Walsh debunks. I'm asking Matt Walsh to debunk these lies because Matt Walsh did a video a couple days ago, um, claiming to debunk Candace Owens. Um, but in the process of him so-called debunking Candace Owens, he didn't debunk anything. He he just threw out a bunch of, you know, ad hominem attacks and Erica's a good person, Erica's a grieving wife, Erica's grieving, it's just not right, it's evil, it's this and that. But I want y'all to notice something about these people who um talking about Candace Owens is like just on this this you know thing to just destroy Erica Kirk. She's just on a tear. But one of the things you notice that they never ever do, they just saying Candace is evil, Candace is a devil, Candace is wicked, Candace is this, Candace is that, Candace should be ashamed of herself. How could she? She's a grieving widow, she's a grieving wife, she's a mother with children. And that's the kind of stuff you constantly hear. But now, they don't want to touch the accusations made by Candace Owens and others on the internet. Y'all need to ask yourself that question. Why don't y'all just remember TPUSA was supposed to debunk all the list of the so-called lies? Did they ever do that? Of course they did. They're not gonna do it because they can't do it. It's the truth. They can't debunk it. That's why they never did it. But you notice they never ever, none of them, Brandon Tatum, Dan Bond, none of these so-called, you know, content creators who think Candace is the devil, they don't debunk what she is saying because you can't. You can't. So Matt, I want let me play a little bit of Matt's play a little bit of his so-called opening on Candace Owens, and I want him to debunk these lies about Erica Kirk. Let's listen at Matt Walsh. Walsh.
I still remember where I was and what I was doing when I heard about the massacre at Sandy Hook almost 14 years ago. It was the second national tragedy in my lifetime after 9/11 that left an indelible and permanent mark on the conscience, something you remember for the rest of your days. Now, the two events are not the same in terms of their scale, severity, geopolitical importance, or death toll, obviously, but they were so shocking, so more.
So why are you comparing them? They're not the same as what you about to get to with Charlie Kirk. Why are you comparing them? Because you're setting the stage for to put people in a certain mindset. That's why you're doing that. You're trying to convince us to look at what's going on with Erica the same way people saw what was going on with Sandy Hook. That's what you're trying to do, Matt. You think you're slick, but you're not.
Morally outrageous that they imprint themselves somewhere deep in your soul, like a kind of psychological impact crater. I also remember just as vividly the conspiracy theories that almost immediately sprouted up like weeds around the Sandy Hook shooting. Within days of the attack, if not hours, it had been decided by legions of internet commenters and a few prominent right-wing personalities, Alex Jones most famously.
He's setting this thing up really well. So in other words, all of the, you know, everything you heard that went against the official narrative of the FBI, all of that, anything you heard outside of what the FBI told us that happened, you are a conspiracy theorist. You can't believe, you got to believe that Tyler Robinson uh, got on the roof. Nobody saw him get on the roof. None of them cameras, all them high definition cameras they got up there, we got no camera showing him getting on the roof. Zero, zippo. Got on the roof, got us, put a gun together, this 30-06 with a screwdriver, took a shot, took out Charlie, took the gun apart, jumped off the roof, took the gun back apart, put the gun in the woods, in some dumb building, and then the dogs found it, and well, the dogs couldn't even find the gun. The dogs didn't find the gun. Somebody else found the gun. They had dogs, but the dogs didn't find the gun. But we supposed to just believe all that because if you believe any of that, that is absolutely insane, you are a conspiracy theorist. You have to believe everything that I just said. Otherwise, you are a conspiracy theorist.
That the attack never actually happened. It was staged. It was a hoax. The government had perpetrated an elaborate ruse, one that apparently involved hundreds of people, including not just government officials, but members of the media and so on. The dead children were not actually dead or maybe never existed. The grieving parents were frauds, crisis actors, playing a role. Now, none of this was true, of course. There was no evidence to support any of it, but many people apparently believe.
So anything else you hear contrary to the official narrative about Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, anything else you hear contrary, that's what he's laying down. None of that is true. Don't believe none of that. Believe what the official narrative is. That's what Matt is telling you.
Did anyway. They pointed to weird details surrounding the event, and from those data points, if we can call them that, they constructed an entire cinematic universe. The conspiracy theorists said that the initial reports out of the school were inconsistent and contradictory. There was talk of a second shooter, but then it turned out that it was only one shooter. They pointed to other things like news articles about the shooting with timestamps appearing to show that the articles were published before the event occurred. And most of all, they pointed to the mannerisms of the parents. They circulated clips of the parents smiling or appearing to chuckle or behaving in other ways that were deemed strange and inappropriate.
So when you see Erica Kirk doing Zoom meetings and got this bubbly and giggly, and just shortly after her husband's assassination, all of that is normal. When you hear her talking about t-shirt and hat sales and how many more new donors they got, wow. And they pull off the event of the season, her husband's memorial, all that's normal. Don't pay no attention to none of that. That's abnormal. That's what Matt wants you to believe. That's normal behavior we saw from Erica Kirk. And if you believe that's abnormal, you are a conspiracy theorist.
Now, rather than conclude that people respond to grief differently, especially when there are cameras pointed at their faces, the theorists decided that an inappropriately timed smile must be evidence that everything we think we know about the crime isn't true. And instead, their wild competing narrative, for which there was no actual evidence.
Here's what a whole home water filtration system costs, including installation. Tap below to check pricing.
Is true. In reality, there were reasonable explanations for all of the weird details. Early reports out of mass casualty events are almost always inconsistent. Reports of phantom second shooters are extremely common. Timestamps on news articles can be wrong. And people who are grieving sometimes smile. Anyone who's ever been to a funeral knows that. And at any rate, even if these little tidbits were unexplained, even if we all agreed that they were somehow bizarre and troubling, they still wouldn't prove the conspiracy theory. Indeed, if Sandy Hook was all a highly coordinated government ruse, then why would they post news articles about it ahead of time? Why would they put out inconsistent information? Why would their paid crisis actors be smiling? As is often the case, the conspiracy theory makes less sense of these points than the so-called official narrative does. The conspiracy theory does not do the single thing that a legitimate theory is supposed to do, which is to make sense of the facts on the ground. It makes less sense of them. It introduces even more unexplained and unexplainable variables. It takes a well-supported narrative with maybe a few holes and replaces it with a new narrative that has 10,000 more holes.
Matt again is reiterating that you're not allowed to think outside of the box. You can't. American citizens, you cannot think outside of the box. That is like, in the Bible talks about the unpardonable sin. There's such thing as an unpardonable sin. Now, as far as what they're trying to, usher on us, push on us, is that if you dare to think contrary to how we want you to think, that's unforgivable. We will cancel you. We will shun you. We will turn our backs on you. We will get rid of you. You won't get that $7,000 check. We will cut your money off. You gonna have to say what we want you to say, and don't you dare even think to say anything contrary. That's where the world is coming to, my brothers and sisters. That's where the world is coming to. The world, I ain't want to get too sidetracked, but where things are actually coming to, this is a good and evil battle that's going on. Don't y'all be deceived. This is good and evil. Your loyalty will be with Satan or with God. That's it. That's gonna be your only option. That's where things are headed. Whether you like it or not, whether you are religious or not, whether you believe in God or not, none of that matters. What's going on is your loyalty test to choose Satan or God. They setting the stage for it.
Now, in the case of Sandy Hook, this wild and baseless theorizing was not just an academic exercise. Real children actually died. Real parents were dealing with a trauma beyond comprehension. And now, thanks to the Sandy Hook truthers, they found themselves cast as the villains of the story. It wasn't enough to suffer the worst tragedy of their lives. Now they also had to deal with being demonized and defamed for no good reason.
See how he's setting this thing up? In other words, because that he's comparing this to the backlash that TPUSA, along with Erica Kirk, is receiving. And all of what they're receiving is, it's unfair. You heard them. They just, it's unwarranted. They don't deserve what is being said about them. It's unwarranted. That's what this man wants you to believe. He don't want you to use your brains. He don't want you to use your God-given brains. That everything Candace is doing, and what is she doing? What is Candace doing? Simply investigating and asking questions. Something his good friend. Oh, my good friend. He's my good friend. My good friend. Charlie Kirk is everybody's good friend, but everybody is turning their back on what Charlie Kirk stood on. Even his wife. He wanted the Doge audit. Did we get the Doge audit? No, we didn't get it. Everybody, Erica Kirk said on the Zoom meeting, everything that y'all been doing before that, when Charlie was alive, whatever, you can put all that on hold or whatever. We going in a different direction and all that. It's this turning point 2.0. But none of what's going on is warranted.
I bring all this up because it reminds me very much, to an almost eerie degree, of the third national tragedy that impacted me and many millions of Americans so deeply that we'll never forget where we were when we heard about it. That would be the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Just like Sandy Hook, Charlie Kirk assassination has become the subject of wild and baseless conspiracy theories. And just like Sandy Hook, one of the living victims of this tragedy, in this case, Erica Kirk, has become, for no good reason,
no good reason. Now I'm about to show you the reasons. This video ain't gonna be long, but I'm about to show you just some of the reasons. But you hear them. No good reason for why people got questions about Erica Kirk. We got no good reason to have suspicion, to have questions about Erica Kirk, her behavior. We don't have no good reason. Absolutely not, because she's a grieving widow. She just lost her husband. She got 2 kids. What reason you have to be suspicious of her?
Target. She's been demonized and defamed, and on the exact same basis. The Internet Peanut Gallery has decided that she smiles at inappropriate times. She rubs them the wrong way. They don't like her vibes. And for that reason, she must be the villain of the story rather than the victim.
Okay, that's Matt Walsh. Matt wants us to believe that everything that is happening to Miss Erica Kirk is like no good reason. It's just it's just a bunch of haters. Just a bunch of haters. Matt Walsh, I got a list of some things I need you to debunk. While you debunking, I want you to, because if you debunk these, this is just a few of them. If you can debunk these allegations that, these inconsistencies, these lies that Erica Kirk has told, then how you gonna say there's no good reason when this Christian woman, this CEO of Turning Point, this very powerful organization, which is definitely going in a different direction than Charlie Kirk was taking it, and has told all of these lies, bold-faced lies, that I've not heard none of you address. You just talk conspiracy. Well, debunk these lies right here, and then maybe I'll be like, oh wow, maybe we all, maybe we all kind of, a little too harsh on Miss Erica Kirk. But nobody has debunked the lies. They just want you to get in your feelings. These are some of the more recent lies right here, because Candace is doing the Bride of Charlie. She done like 3 parts on it, and I can't wait till Monday. The Lord spare my life. But this is one of the things coming up right here. Single mother upbringing. Debunk that, Matt. Why is Erica Kirk telling people that just her mama brought her up, and it's kind of almost looking like, this ain't been proven yet, but it's definitely proven that she made this statement, which is a lie. But it's looking like the woman she claiming to be her mother, we done put an astro on that, because we ain't know if that's true. She done lied so much we don't even know if that's true. Lori Froxpay might not even be her mama. It's looking that way, that it's a possibility. Debunk the dating history, Matt Walsh. Why did Erica Kirk, since we have, it's just like no good reason to be suspicious of Erica Kirk. No good reason to be thinking that, man, this lady here been telling a whole lot of lies. Why? Some lies she's telling, like, why you have to even lie about that? Why lie about her dating history, Matt Walsh? Oh, you know how many people done dated? Why, other people, and what's wrong? Why she said she didn't date when she was in New York? What was the good reason for that lie? What was the reason at all for that lie? Debunk that. Debunk the drinking. Why did she say she didn't drink? I don't drink. I mean, I just saw my friends go out and they would drink with one and they'll go to do this with the other one. And I just, not that I'm just like holier than thou, but I just found it very unproductive. I just don't do that. And then you see her on these shows and stuff ordering drinks. And I'm not condemning her for drinking. I'm saying, why are you lying about not drinking when clearly you on camera drinking? Debunk that, Matt. Debunk the birth date discrepancies. that Candace Owens just recently discovered and showed us in her mini series she's doing. You gonna debunk that? Why is all these different dates on the divorce filing and her birth date November 22nd contradicting November 20th date? What's going on with that? Debunk that. These are not conspiracies. These are facts. But you don't want to touch these facts. Y'all just want to try to get people in their emotions. We ain't falling for that crap. We done being manipulated by our emotions. Y'all gonna have to do better than that. We ain't falling. Now you got a whole lot of people out there that still, they way out there in left field, and hopefully God will bring them in. But a lot of us like, nah, y'all go pull that. Y'all had that wool over our eyes long enough. We not going back down that road. You gonna have to bring home the bacon to make us believe this crap. Okay, the pageant entry story. She claimed she entered pageantry by chance after being nominated via mail. And Candace got proof to show that this woman was in pageants, just pageant after pageant. Why the lie though? What's the reason for this lie? Debunk this, Matt. We need you to debunk this. Cause you ain't debunked nothing when you sat down and did your little podcast. You ain't debunked nothing. You just tried to compare Sandy Hook to what happened with Charlie, and so, oh my God, yeah, that was a whole bunch of conspiracy now, and so this must be a bunch of conspiracy. No, we're not falling for that either. We need you to deal with these facts. Deal with these accusations that are factual. They ain't conspiracy. This is factual. Erica Kirk said this. Them dates on that birth certificate, that's facts. Deal with that. Parental marriage dates. Those ain't messed up. Owens highlight that Kirk's parents' divorce petition listed the marriage date of November the 20th, 1995. And then you got, while separating agreement between November the 7th, 1982, suggesting the family narrative is inconsistent. It's just all these inconsistencies that nobody want to deal with, which are these are facts. These are legitimate facts. Now maybe there's a good explanation for them, but y'all don't want to. The problem is you won't deal with none of it. You just want to. That's if you think anything about any of this that's factual, you are a conspiracy theorist. No, we're not falling for that. What about Charlie Kirk's final message? Have you asked Erica why she lied about that? Now we know what she said. She first said, this idea that he has. She was on Glenn Beck, I think, talking to Glenn Beck. This idea that he was receiving these death threats the day before, that is not true. And it's like, you know how I know it's not true? Because I have his phone. Well, Matt, there's two things about that. Number one, why she got his phone if Charlie Kirk just recently, passed? I mean, shouldn't that phone be in? I heard a lot of people say, I don't know, but I heard a lot of people say that phone should be in the FBI's possession. That's what I heard. See, that seemed kind of strange that she would have that phone that fast. But she said Charlie wasn't saying that until Candace dropped the receipts and showed that, yeah, he was saying this. He told Tyler, and he told that other guy, Dan. I think it was Dan Flood. He told them. He told people that. Then she said, "Oh, there was in another app on another app. Man, I didn't see that." But yeah, he did say that. That she got caught in a lie. She got caught in a lie. Because if you're gonna make that statement, Erica, you should at least make sure you go through all of his information before you come out there so definitive and say he didn't say that, and I have his phone. So you were implying that if he said it, it was in what you had in your hand. You liar. Matt, debunk that. What about the assassination investigation? repeatedly accused Kirk of Turning Point USA of gaslighting the public, withholding information regarding September 10th shooting. Yeah, and because we still trying to get some alibis from Miss Kirk as it relates to Fort Huachuca. I think it might have been September the 8th, the 9th, one of them days up in there. Candace is still waiting on her alibi. You ain't got that yet. Because it's looking like she been on Fort Huachuca. We do know, Matt, she filmed a movie on Fort Huachuca that never really came out. We saw the video, we saw this promo she was doing about some kind, I forgot what it was. Judge Janine Pugh, all of them up in there with the CIA director. So Erica Kirk been getting around. We want to know why she ain't get to give a correct alibi as it relates to where she was and was she on Fort Huachuca. Debunk that, Matt. Debunk that. What about the grooming allegation that just recently came out, Matt? You saw those texts that a 25-year-old Erica Kirk was sending a 15-year-old about touching her butt and about, I don't bat for the other side yet. That's what she was saying to a 15-year-old Erica. That's cool. That nothing wrong with that. Is that factual? Was that her having that conversation, or did Candace just fabricate that? Because y'all don't want to deal with facts. You don't want to deal with the facts. I ain't had none of y'all who getting this money, getting this check from whoever y'all getting it from, deal with the facts. Deal with that. Y'all don't want to go around that with a 10-foot pole. You just want to talk about a grieving widow, grieving widow, grieving widow. Well, this is a lying widow. We are investigating Erica not because she's a grieving widow. We got sympathy for grieving widows. We investigating and looking into Erica because she's a lying widow. And just because you're a widow, that doesn't give you the right to lie. You can't lie just because you are a widow and you lost your husband. Because once you lie, now we got to look into you. Egyptian plane. Y'all remember the Egyptian plane she lied about? I ain't never been on no Egyptian plane. I was pregnant. Nobody ever said you was on an Egyptian plane, Miss Erica Kirk. But she spin that, lied about that. That's just some of them. Matt, if you can debunk some of this right here, maybe Brother Billy will change his mind. And Brother Billy will get his story straight. And he'll have to come back and do another video and be like, oh man, all these claims have been debunked. So we can't use these no more. Miss Erica Kirk, Matt Walsh, and the whole crew that's getting the $7,000 or however much they're getting, they have debunked these. So we can't use these. Candace, you're going to have to come up with some more goods because they have debunked all of these. That's what we're waiting on. And until y'all debunk these and the many other accusations Candace is bringing against Erica, y'all can kick rocks. Just go kick rocks. Cause we not having that there. We not having it. All right. That's all Brother Billy wanted to do. Matt Walsh, debunk these lies, and then we can talk. Y'all be blessed. I'm out.